Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is The Boys, Season 1, Episode 7, The Self-Preservation Society. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing? You're probably going to hear some little demon bastards outside screaming because, of course, they start 5 seconds before I go online here. So, yeah, anyway, let's get started here with a little bit of business first. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you don't like what you see, you can hit the dislike button. I just ask you go in the comment section, tell me what it is you don't like, give me some constructive criticism, some feedback. If you want to see when I'm going to be on live again next, hit the bell. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again, it will unclick it. You can go into the bell settings and get as many or as little notifications as you want. The real way to find out when I'm going to be online is go to my website, suspendedfanimation.com, and you'll see the schedule up there. I also have it mirrored on my Facebook page. I also have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, and I have a Patreon, but I don't have any tiers set up as of yet. No, I can't, unfortunately, Viking Bitch. They are behind me. So I have some in the front and I have some in the back as well. So, yes, it's like all over the place. Yeah. Yeah. So also actually on Friday is going to be the last episode, and that's when you guys are going to comment in the comment section. You can comment in this one as well. But commenting in the comment section for the next episode will put you in the running for first place prize. The Boys foam finger gotten at Comic-Con, this year's Comic-Con, when I went to the sneak preview, the fan appreciation party. That was only 300 people, which was nice. That's first place prize. Second place prize is the Boys coin from Amazon, and that's also from Comic-Con as well. And finally, the third place prize is the actual wristband that I was wearing when I got let into the Boys to see that at the Amazon Prime experience, as they called it. Yeah. So, and the thing is, this is only open to U.S. residents. I can't, unfortunately, afford the international shipping rates. So, let me know in the comment section if you are international. That way I can leave you out of the running on that one. Yeah. So let's get started, shall we? Okay. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the shit out of the episode. If you haven't seen the episode, go fucking watch it. Now, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video you can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. There we go. And I always had the perma spoiler alert right above my shoulder right here. So we open up with a Christmas party 8 years ago at Vought. And all the heroes are there. Translucent's playing Santa Claus. The Deep dressed up as an elf. And Stillwell saying that, it works with his getup that he's got on. And of course, we have Queen Maeve. She's there. And we see Billy, a unbearded Billy, in attendance. And he's with his wife. And she says, you know what, just a few more rounds. Got to shake a few hands, and then we can go. And she basically wants him sober because she wants to take advantage of him when he gets home. That's when Homelander comes down the stairs and he says, Becca Butcher, right? And she's like, yeah, how did you know? He goes, I always know the newest VP of marketing. And also you're wearing a name tag is what he tells her. And you could tell he's a little bit flirty, but at the same time, kind of respectful and saying that she's taken over his Twitter account, of course. And he notices good things and he wants her to take over the rest of his social media. And he loves Billy's accent, by the way, too. So, yeah, she doesn't want any whiskey dick. Exactly, Viking Bitch. Exactly. So then we flash to today, and Billy is sitting in a car across the street watching Huey and Annie get out of a cab and going to a hotel room. And Huey and Annie have some wow. Yeah, they have a little bit of sex there. And during a climax, she doesn't burn off his face, which is a good thing, So that's always a good thing when your superpowered girlfriend does not burn off your face during sex. And when cuddling, she asks him, "You know what? I just have to ask, why a hotel room, and why didn't you bring me back to your place?" And he goes, "Well, I think the postcoital pizza rolls that my dad would make would be a little bit embarrassing." And she goes, "Well, you know what? I've never really seen your place, and I've never seen where your place of work." And he says, "Well," he goes, "I quit my job," is what he tells her, and also, you know what? I'm kind of embarrassed to bring you home. I mean, if you want to meet dad, I can bring you home and meet dad. That's fine. And she goes, "Well, tell me everything's okay." And he looks at her and he says, "Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah." And, there are no red flags here, is what he tells her. Yeah. So Homelander, in the meantime, is looking at all the pics that were on Mesmer's phone from his doorbell cam, and he's got them lined up on the video monitors. And he recognizes Billy's face. He looks at it and he recognizes Billy from A Train's race as the only person standing there in the crowd staring back at him. So the Deep ends up arriving in Sandusky, Ohio, because that's the great place that he's ended up in. And the Vought representative is, really excited to have him there. And you know what? Sandusky's got a lot of attractions. It's got the biggest roller coaster park in the U.S., and it's just a couple hours from Cleveland or Toledo. And also, of course, there's Lake Erie. And you know, the Deep wants to know when, of course, his crime itinerary is going to be given to him. And he goes, "Oh no, we don't have anything like that." He goes, Sandusky isn't a shithole like Akron, but if we do have any crimes, we'll give you a call." And you get a $75 a day per diem for food. You can go buy your own food down at the supermarket, or you can go to the Dairy Queen, get yourself some milkshakes there. Yeah, God. So we see the Deep kind of puttering around his place, his new place, and then he sits down to try and write his memoirs, which is completely stuck. Yeah. A-Train, in the meantime, is having trouble with training, and he's puking, and basically he's detoxing at this point. And his brother Nathan basically tells him, "You know what? You're off that compound V shit, and that's actually good, because that stuff is killing you. Doc tells you, that your heart's enlarged and your balls are shrunk up." And A-Train's like, "Don't even mention that shit." And he goes, "I don't know what it is." He goes, "I don't want to get involved with it, but I'm glad you're off of it," kind of thing. "And we're just going to start training the old way." And A-Train's like, "Do you think someone my age is going to come back, just by training? That's not going to happen." And he already says that there's somebody faster in another part of the country than him right now. So, yeah. So we have he gets a phone call to show up at the Seven headquarters, and Homelander's having a meeting. And he says, "A few of them have been sloppy and out of sorts, but not you, Black Noir. You've been great." And of course, Black Noir says, "Fucking nothing," as usual. Homelander shows Huey's face on the screen and says he's responsible for killing Translucent and Popclaw and who knows who else, because he's been running around there. And Homelander questions A-Train and goes, "Hey, does this guy look familiar to you at all?" And A-Train's like, "Huh? What do you mean?" And then he shows Huey shaking hands with him right there in that very same room. And he goes, "Oh shit, that's the guy whose girlfriend I killed." And he goes, "Yeah, this is the guy that is also banging Starlight," is what he says. And you know what? Ever since she's come on board, now we're down two people. We're down Translucent and we're down the Deep. Maybe because of you. Maybe you're working on the inside." And she's like, "No, no, no, wait." And she stands up to defend herself, and his eyes start glowing red. And he goes, "No, no, no. Keep your hands where I can see him, Missy, and sit down," is what he says. And he just starts ripping into her. And she's like, "You got it wrong. Huey's not a bad person. I don't know what you're talking about." And basically Homelander's turning the group against her, except for Queen Maeve, who stands up for her and tells Homelander to, back the fuck up. And Homelander's impressed. He goes, Maeve, no, she doesn't care about anybody. She goes, "You must be special." And then he kind of comes up to Queen Maeve and says, what do you want me to do here? And he goes, I can take her out right here and now. And Maeve's like, no, this is, let me handle her. He goes, okay, she's your problem now, is what he says, and leaves her there. So Frenchie, in the meantime, is teaching Kimiko how to cook. And when Huey comes in, and Kimiko looks at Frenchie, and Frenchie says, she wants to know where you've been all night. And Billy's sitting there just eating food, going, yeah, Huey, why don't you tell us where you've been? And Huey's like, can I talk to you, alone? And Billy's like, we don't have any secrets here. Tell me what you want. What you really, really want. And Mother's Milk, of course, says, stop being an asshole, man. And finally, Huey's like, all right, fine. I don't want to do this shit anymore. He goes, up until a few days ago, I've never seen a person get killed. Now I'm knee deep in it, and I'm killing people myself. He goes, I don't want anything more to do with this. And he goes, why don't you tell us what it's really all about? And that's when, Huey comes clean and says, it's about Annie. And Billy basically lets him know that he's been following him, that he saw them both go to the hotel. And Huey tries to defend her, and Billy just kind of rips into him. Again, this is the opposite version of what just happened to Starlight with her group. And Huey says it's better to, after Billy rips into him, Huey just turns it around and goes, hey, is it better to be loyal to a dead woman who doesn't know and doesn't care? How's that working out for you? And just before Billy could turn, his phone rings. And it's Huey's dad. And when he picks up the phone, it's not his dad, it's A-Train. And A-Train says, come on over here alone. He goes, I know who the fuck you are now. Get over here and come alone. Otherwise, I'm going to splatter through dad just like I did through your girlfriend, is what he says. Yeah. So at this point, Mother's Milk realizes that they've all been burned, and he calls up Monique and his wife and tells them to leave the house as soon as she gets this message. And he realizes, first, Billy's trying to blame Starlight, and Mother's Milk says, she hasn't even seen me. She doesn't know who the hell I am. It's Mesmer. Mesmer was the one who's burned us all. So Billy's a bit pissed about that because, of course, he was right. He said this all along that Mesmer was going to burn them because he's a soup. So, yeah. So Huey gets to the house, and A-Train zooms in, and you can see he's obviously coming down off of whatever drug, off of Compound V. He's detoxing pretty bad. And he runs into, really at fast, super speed in and out of Huey's room and grabs some toys. He goes, you really are a fan. You got like the exclusives from Comic-Con, all this shit. And he's basically threatening to kill, Huey and his dad. And Huey's like, just let him go. And he goes, or what? And he goes, well, you probably want this. And he pulls out a little syringe of Compound V. He goes, you're probably jonesing for this right now, huh? And he goes, I don't know what that shit is what A-Train says. And Huey says, and you won't mind this. And he kind of just squirts it out. And A-Train freaks. He goes, wait a minute. I got a bigger dose someplace, not here, but you got to let my dad go first. And he says, all right, I'll let him go. But remember, I can hunt him down like a millisecond. And his dad, of course, doesn't want to leave Huey. And Huey says, don't worry, I got this. And he leaves. And so A-Train's like, so where's the Compound V at? And Huey basically kind of stalls a little bit, and A-Train starts blaming him for Pop Claw's death. And he goes, what are you talking about? I didn't kill Pop Claw. He goes, yeah, you did with everything you've been doing. It caused her death. And he goes, it's all about you. It all started with you. And he's just going into this big rant when in comes super speed Kimiko with a lead pipe, and she takes out A-Train's leg, which is pretty damn good. And they take off. And of course, Huey, tells him, of course, I'm not stupid enough to come by myself. I brought somebody with me. So Mother's Milk is getting his family out, and Monique, his wife, is pretty pissed for getting involved with Billy again. and his daughter is there, and she's drawn him a picture, and Monique's going, okay, get your toys, and he goes, baby, we don't have time to pack toys, we got to get out now, is what he does. And it's like, yeah, we got to go now. So Stillwell gets off the phone and finds out she only has 3 more votes to go to get Soups in the military, and she's talking to Homelander about this, and he brings up Becca Butcher, and he goes, hey, you remember Becca Butcher from marketing about 8 years ago? Whatever happened to her? Because I found out she was missing, that she started missing. He goes, I found that kind of weird, you know? She goes, oh, I thought she just quit, kind of thing. And Stillwell wants to know why he's asking all these questions. He goes, oh, I'm just curious. It just seemed like a weird thing. And then she brings up, she goes, well, why don't, I tell Maria to stay a little bit later with my baby. And she goes, and it'll be just you and me. We'll order in and we'll hang out. And he kind of looks at her and goes, no, that's okay. You be a mom, is what he says. You go be a mom. Yeah. So we see a very disturbing scene with the Deep. Excuse me, but I was going to sneeze there for a second, which I didn't want to sneeze into the microphone, of course. And I think I'm going to. So hang on. Excuse me. Wow. That's one thing I love, is having that having a sneeze right in the middle of everything. So the Deep finds a groupie, and she is really kind of she wants him to take off his shirt. He's like, I'm not like other people. She goes, I know, that's what I'm hoping. And he takes off his shirt, and we see he's got gills on the side of his rib cage. And she's like, oh my God. And she's like into this and disgusted by it at the same time. It's kind of weird. And we find out that his gills are actually a little bit on the sensitive side, which I'm pretty sure is going to play a part later on down the line, just so you know. And she starts putting her pinky into his gills, and he's like, ow, that hurts. Don't do that. And she's sitting on top of him on the couch, putting her fingers in that. And he's like, stop, that hurts. And he goes, why don't you just go? And she goes, no, I'm not going. And then she starts fingering his gills. Yes. And he can't do anything about it because it's hurting the shit out of it. Hurting the shit out of him at this point. And she basically forces herself on him and is getting off on fingering his gills and herself at the same time. So yeah, I never thought I would see saying that about a show, but there we go. Mesmer, in the meantime, runs into Billy at the train station and runs from him and goes and hides in the toilet. Billy, of course, finds him because he's put a tracker on him, because he's not a dummy. Yeah, it's he's tracked him down. And each time Billy starts punching Mesmer, he sees glimpses of Billy's life and his wife that's missing. And Mesmer says, I can help you. I can help you find your wife. And Billy grabs him by the head, and he's got hands on both sides of his head there. And he all of a sudden starts shaking in terror, Mesmer, and he's like, no, I've got a little girl. And Billy just starts pummeling his head into the edge of the sink, basically caving in his face, killing him. And that's when we have another flashback of Billy getting recruited by Mallory. And Mallory's showing up to his door days after Becca has disappeared. And she shares a little video of Becca going into an office with Homelander. And she tells Billy that, she was with Homelander for 3 hours. And we see her come out looking kind of disheveled. And Mallory says that was the last, time, other than the park, that was the last time she was seen. And she thinks that, Homelander might be involved. And he goes, who the hell are you, is what he asks. And Mallory says, I'm the person who can get you payback. So this is the whole thing that Butcher did to Huey as well. So we're seeing a lot of similarities between, that's what this whole episode is about, is similarities on both sides of the aisle, I guess, and similarities in people, how they're being recruited as well. So, yeah. So Huey and Starlight, Huey keeps calling Starlight and she refuses to answer. And Maeve keeps asking, well, who's that? Who's calling? And she goes, "Oh, it's nobody." And Maeve is making herself a drink and, saying, I had someone special once, but, that, I wanted to go away with them, start a family, all that kind of stuff. And she goes, when people ask you what your weakness is, if it's kryptonite or, lead or something like that, she goes, what they don't really realize is it's people. It's, caring about other people. It's the same as everyone else. And she says, um, the best thing to do is just not care and not have people in your life. And then you're bulletproof, is what she tells her. Yeah. So the Deep at the supermarket, he's piling up a whole bunch of junk food when he sparks up a conversation with a lobster in the tank. And he's like, "Don't worry, buddy, I'll get you out." He gets the butcher over and he goes, "Yeah, I want this guy right here." And before he can tell the butcher that he wants the little lobster alive, the butcher cuts him in half with a butcher knife. He goes, "No, wait." And you hear the crunch. And yeah, that's the humane way of killing them, by the way. You don't put them in the freezer and then boil them or anything like that. No, you cut right through the head. Unfortunately, that is the most humane way of doing it. So we see everyone over at the hideout, the honeycomb hideout there with their families. Well, at least Mother's Milk and Huey have their families there. And Billy walks up to Mother's Milk's daughter and tries to introduce himself as Uncle Billy when Monique says, "That is not your uncle." And she gets up and slaps Billy, and he's like, "Hey, Monique, long time no see." Yeah. So Huey apologizes to his dad, and his dad is actually kind of proud of him. He goes, "You know what?" He goes, "Don't, there's nothing to be ashamed of." He goes, "You did something I didn't think you were going to do." And Mother's Milk finally gets wise, and he tells Billy, he goes, "You know what? I think Rainer was going for the deal, and it's just that she wasn't putting Homelander on the table for you, and that's the reason why you turned it down." He goes, call her, because I don't want this shit to end up like Mallory. I want my family to be alive." And he pleads basically for Billy to call Rainer back. So Homelander visits Jonah Vogelbaum. This is the doctor that was in the lab that raised him in the lab, essentially. And Vogelbaum's got his dogs because he's doing behavioral experiments and also genetic experiments with dogs, crossbreeding and all that stuff. And that's what he's talking about. And Jonah calls him John. And Homelander's like, no one's called me that in a long time. And Jonah says, "Okay, let's cut through the bullshit." He goes, "You talk to Stillwell about Becca Butcher, and you're seeing where the dominoes fall, and they lead to me." He goes, "I'll tell you all about it." And he says, "Becca Butcher came to us, and she was pregnant with your baby." And he goes, "Well, wait a minute. I didn't think I could have babies." And he goes, "Yeah, I didn't think so either. But it just so happens you were able to. And the fetus was growing exponentially and unexpectedly fast. And what we did was we had her sign an NDA. She couldn't tell anyone, not even her husband. And we brought her in. And unfortunately, the baby clawed its way out of her, killing her." And he goes, "Well, what about the baby?" He goes, "Well, he died 10 seconds later, drowning on the mother's blood." Kind of graphic, just from a telling somebody about this. And he goes, "So why are you telling me now?" He goes, "Well, I'm sorry for the way I raised you." He goes, "You needed a mother, you basically need to be placed with parents." He goes, "I found out through test subjects that if they didn't have a mother, they grew up to be aggressive and angry." And he goes, "But I'm the greatest hero," is what Homelander says. And he goes, "No, you're my greatest disappointment." Yeah. So, yeah, pretty vile shit that came out there. So we have some cars squealing up to the hideout, and it's Rainer who's come to get and protect their families. And Monique tells Mother's Milk she never wants to see him again. And he hugs his daughter goodbye because it might be the last time he sees her. And Huey hugs his dad goodbye, and they all leave. And Rainer says, "No Homelander. Homelander's on the deal, but everyone else is fair game." And of course, Billy's going to be in on this one. So just then, Annie calls Huey and tells her that she wants to see him and that he needs to explain himself. So Rainer's sitting there with Stillwell. She's called her in and goes, "You know what? All this shit's over. Your company's fucked." She goes, basically for shooting up babies with compound V, among other things. She goes, also, what's going on with this girl? What were you guys doing with her? And she's like, I've never seen this girl before in my life. She shows a picture of the female. And basically, she wants Stillwell to pull the bill from Congress. She goes, but it's on the floor. She goes, no, you're going to pull the bill. You're going to pull it out. And we're going to go back to the government running things, not you guys, not you assholes. And otherwise, everything goes public. And all this evidence goes public, and you guys are going to be screwed just from the lawsuits alone. And then Rayner gets called out of the room and to watch a video of a military operation in Damascus, taking out a terrorist cell. And she sees them there, and she's like, what am I looking at? And she sees this superpowered terrorist essentially take out an entire military crew there by blowing himself up, kind of like Nuke from the X-Men there. Well, actually, the Brotherhood of Evil. And the building's burning, and she's like, okay, so he killed himself. And her second in command there goes, no, wait for it. And we see him walk out of the flames. And on his chest, he has a tattoo on there that translates to his name as Captain. That's his soup name. He's a soup terrorist. Yeah. So Huey meets Annie out in the park, and she asks him if he killed Translucent. He goes, well, that's kind of difficult to explain. And she goes, well, were you using me in order to get back at A-Train? And he's kind of quiet about it. And she goes, you know what? I'm going to take you into the cops. And he goes, no, don't. He goes, I'll be dead before sundown. She goes, no, Vought's going to want to string this thing out for a little bit. And he's like, no, it goes a little bit deeper than that. And he tells her all about Compound V, and that their soups are not natural, that they are made, that they are manufactured. And that's when he sees a little laser dot on Starlight's chest, on Annie's chest. And she gets shot and goes flying back. And it's Billy. Billy's got a gun, and he shoots her again in the chest. And of course, she's bulletproof. It's just going to knock her down and stun her. And Billy tells Huey to run. And we hear sirens in the distance. And that is where we leave off on the episode. So, again, a good episode. We don't have to actually have a lot of exposition, a lot of spinning of wheels. We actually got story moving along. That's what you're supposed to do. You have building of the villain as well. Excuse me, Homelander as the villain. I mean, all kinds of stuff that's really good in this. And again, 8 episodes long. That's all this is. An hour each episode. That's it. Yeah. Wasn't he firing beanbag? No, he was not firing beanbag rounds, Ejar. He was firing bullets, because you could see there's a burn hole in her chest. I'm watching it on a 65-inch, big screen TV here. And yes, those were bullets that were flying off her chest. So yeah, some really good stuff. Tamarack says, think that was just something that Vought lied to Homelander about not being able to have kids, or else he would be harder to control him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, Tamaracks, that they might not have thought that he was able to have kids. Maybe they just didn't want him to have kids. Who knows? But I mean, if you told somebody that they can't have kids, he's not going to be using a condom at all at this point, and especially if he's a superpowered prick like Homelander is. That's even more dangerous, quite honestly. There you go. I almost feel sorry for Homelander being raised in a lab by scientists denied any normal childhood. Yeah, I agree with you, Tamarocks. And that's what Vogelbaum was talking about too, is that he was also, saying the same thing. That's the reason why. Ejar says he has a 69-inch HD QLED 4K 3D. Yeah. Thanks, Marks. So yeah, mine's 4K as well, and QLED as well. So there you go. Yeah, who knows what diseases are living on him exactly, Ejar. Let's see what else you guys were talking about, because there was a lot of nonsense I saw going on in the chat up here. That was creepy. I get that he deserved payback, but he didn't stop her. He was really suicidal. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the Deep. Yeah. Yeah, that scene was a bit much, but at the same time, it needed to happen to him, quite honestly. And yeah, the Deep is such an uncomfortable character. It really is. And I think it's just pretty damn funny at the same time. It's disturbing and funny. You're talking about my TV? No, it's a 65-inch QLED 4K. Thanks, Marks. Not 69, 65. So is Comic Book Butcher even more of an asshole than the TV? Yes, he is, Tamarox. He is. He's so much more of an asshole. And his dog is actually there in the comic too. So his dog is just as much of an asshole as he is. Actually, more so. And mainly because of Butcher. Yeah, it is really hard to imagine Tamarox, but he's much more. You almost get to the point where you think Billy's just as evil as the soups in the comic, quite honestly. Yeah, it gets that bad at some points, and you're just like, fuck. Yeah. They kind of lightened him up a little bit on this one. Just a little bit. Not a lot, but they did lighten him up. Yeah. I like the Billy in the show much better. Yeah, I agree with you, Viking bitch. Toning it down and then also having Carl Urban as Billy, I think really does a lot to kind of smooth things out with Billy. Yeah, they did make him a little bit more kid friendly. But him, I mean, using the baby as a weapon in the last episode, I mean, that was pretty damn funny. And fucking diabolical as well, as he says. Yeah. He is one of my favorite actors, quite honestly. He's a fun actor, is what he is. And if I can ever get the damn the a panel video to work, he's actually pretty funny in the panel too. So, Laser Baby. There we go. There's a superhero name. It's Laser Baby. Don't call her baby because she's Laser Baby. Encoding issues. No, it's just a matter of stitching everything. It's huge files. I mean, Finobi is what's going on. And trying to weave everything together. It's just been crashing the computer every time I try and do it. Yeah. I mean, I wish I could. And then the other thing is using QuickTime, trying to do QuickTime with, the codecs for QuickTime are not working all that well. So, yeah, it's been a lot of shitty things with it. I've tried different things. I finally kind of gave up a little bit. I'm taking a little break from trying to actually stitch it together. And because for some reason, GoPro doesn't like to stitch everything all together. They do it in small little vignette or small chunks of videos. So yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass. My PC is actually pretty good, Marks. It's actually supposed to be built for graphics and all that kind of stuff, but it does. Yeah, this is actually. I've been known when I was doing my media art and animation degree that I could kill a computer fairly quickly with any file that I put together. I was known for that, so I could kill a Mac easily just by looking at it. Everyone says, oh, Macs have, are awesome, they can do all. No, I could kill a Mac in like 5 seconds flat easily. Yep. Every time I see Compound V, I think, why is it blue? It was always blue. Clean boot, stop a bunch of services. Yeah, I've done all that. Maybe for nobody, trust me, it's all kinds of yeah. If I could get actually QuickTime codec to work, because for some reason it's not loading properly. And I'm also using a really old ass Adobe After Effects program too, because I can't spend $500 to $1,000 on that program. It's just not worth it. If you had just gone old school and used 16 millimeter, we would have seen it already twice. Yeah, I know. Thanks. Episode 8 Tamarocks is on Friday. Tomorrow is going to be Woo Assassin, the second half of the first season of Woo Assassin. I figured I'd break it up a little bit. And then Thursday, I have something I've got to do. So that's the reason why the final episode is on Friday. What about a trial version? No, because it puts watermarks on there, maybe Fanobi, when you use a trial version. Yeah, trust me, I know all about Adobe and their little tiny tricks. Yeah, that's days away. Oh my God. Yeah, so tomorrow is going to be Woo Assassins, the second half of season 1. Friday is going to be the very last episode of season 1 of The Boys. Saturday is Saturday Morning Blast Off. And Sunday is going to be Preacher. Monday is, what the hell is Monday? There we go. There's the book. As I knock crap out of the way here. Let's see what we got on Monday. And Monday is actually Labor Day weekend. That's right. So there is nothing on Monday because Labor Day. Everyone's off. Have a good day off on that one. But Tuesday, the Tuesday after Labor Day, is the first episode of The Dark Crystal Resistance. That's right. Or is it Renaissance? Resistance. There we go. Good night, Movie Fanobi. And then, of course, next Wednesday is going to be Carnival Row. And next Friday, the 6th, is Titans. You get to see some dick jokes on Titans. Or hear some dick jokes, I should say. See some dick jokes. You're probably going to see some dick jokes on the show. I don't know why, but they really do a lot of their own dick jokes on Titans for some reason. I don't know why. I won a prize pack from the Fanobi raffle. Nice. I have no idea, Joe Greer. Carnival Row comes out next week. So when that or actually comes out on the 30th, I take that back. It comes out on the 30th. And then I'm going to go. If it really sucks, which I've heard it does, I may have to pull it. So, yeah. I did. I saw the new trailer for Titans today, and I actually put it up. I was kind of, it wasn't bad. I have to admit. It was interesting. And we found out that was not Miss Martian, that both Wonder Girl and Starfire were fighting against, because that was rumored that the girl there, it was actually God, now I can't remember her name. It was a really stupid name too for a character, and I know it's an actual character in the DC universe, and I can't remember her name right now. But yeah, it was not Miss Martian. It was just somebody with red hair that happened to be wearing the same kind of outfit that Miss Martian usually wears. Yeah, I heard about the 3-year Disney Plus deal. People were paying like $180 for 3 years and all that stuff. And yeah, I don't know if I could do that, quite honestly. I really don't. That's not that much money, granted, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know. That's how I spend my 2 days off, binging Doom Patrol. That's a good way to spend it, Tamarocks. And I like the warp take and joke of using Mr. Hilter. Yeah. Yeah. Some good stuff, guys. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming up. And of course, it takes us right into fall. And there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out in fall as well. So we've got the last season of Mr. Robot coming up. We've got the what else we've got coming up? Now I'm blanking on things all of a sudden. I don't know. I've got stuff written down here and I can never remember what the hell it is. That's why I write it down. That's right. We got Future Man coming out next year. The beginning of next year is when that comes out. We've also got I got the Dark Crystal, the Age of Resistance. Watchmen's coming out in October. We'll see what that's like. Disenchantment starting again, or the second half of the first season is coming out on September 20th. The Good Place starts in the end of September. Batwoman, we'll see what that's like. That comes out in October. The Man in the High Castle, the final season of that, is coming out November 15th. And then, of course, we have The Expanse on December 13th. So, oh, and there's also Harley Quinn, the animated Harley Quinn coming out mid-October on DC Universe. So, like I said, there's a lot of stuff coming out. The Mayans MC, come on, Ejar. Really? I tried watching that first episode and I just got bored. I got so bored with it. Actually, I was in the panel for the Mayans MC. As you can tell from my little patch here that I got patched in for the Mayans MC. Yeah. That whole thing. It's still sitting here because I just, I'm lazy. I didn't clean up from that one. Yeah, Swamp Thing is really damn good. You might as well. Yeah, if you're doing the free preview and you're just catching up on Doom Patrol, and go through and burn through Swamp Thing too. It's 10 episodes. I'm not wearing my cuts. I know I'm on vacation, Ejar, so you don't wear cuts on vacation. So, with that said, if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also, if you're still on the fence, you're going to see a video pop up here. It's going to take a video from my vast video library based on all the shit you've been watching on YouTube. And it's going to use its little algorithm thing and pluck a video out of I honestly think they just pluck a video at random and pop it up there for you, but we'll see what happens. And up here is going to be last night's episode of The Boys. That's what's going to come up here. That's right. Since the fantasy how an MC operates. Yeah, Ejar, I know. My uncle, I don't even know I should say this. So my uncle used to be a member of the Hells Angels way back in the day. The California chapter, he used to hang out with a guy named Sonny, if anyone knows any history of the Hells Angels. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Yeah. And this is back after he came back from World War II and all that stuff. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah. Do what everyone wants to and hit that like button. Exactly. It won't mind. Smack that like button. I almost said something else for a second. Yeah. You had an uncle that was I actually, strangely enough, live about 2 miles away from a Hells Angel location as well right now. So I drive by it on occasion every now and then. So let me say thank you to everybody who joined me tonight in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. Yeah, that was pretty nasty, Marks. No. But thank you everybody who joined me tonight in the chat, and thank you for making it through this part in the video. And I'm gonna let you guys go for the evening because it's getting late for you guys out in the East Coast, and you need to get home or get to bed because it is a school night. It's a school night, you kids. So get some sleep. I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you, everybody, and don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, no, I'm not gonna say that one. That was just a bad one. Otherwise, your girlfriend might fry your face off during sex because she has superpowers, and you're that good. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.